The Create and Thrive Podcast, episode 19. The right time to start is right now. Don't get tripped up by the idea that to start something, to start your creative business, you need to be at a certain level of expertise or level of knowledge or anything. You don't. I'm Jess and this is the Create and Thrive Podcast. A former school teacher, I turned my handmade hobby into a thriving business, and I also teach other creatives how to do the same. My goal is to help you learn how to turn your creative hobby into a thriving, profitable business. So let's get learning. Hey Thrivers, Jess here. Welcome to the show. I'm coming to you this week from lovely Southampton again. We're back home, our second home, our English home. And I'm about to head out for a couple of days with one of my oldest and dearest friends who's currently over here from Australia. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we might be having a little trip up to the Lake District. It's on the cards as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've always wanted to go up there. And on the way we're stopping into Liverpool, not for any particular reason, nothing to do with the Beatles, but actually to go visit the longbow shop. Yes, I am going to be getting myself a custom longbow made, and the longbow shop in Liverpool is the only place in England and possibly the world I can go to get this particular longbow that I want made. So I'm quite excited about that. I'm looking forward to having my own custom bow. For those of you who don't know, yes, I practice archery. It's one of my hobbies, and I fell in love with this particular type of longbow after one of my colleagues at the archery club let me have a go on his. So that's very exciting to me, and it'll be hopefully back home before I am, but probably not. It takes them a few months to make one, so it might be there a little bit after me. So that's on the cards for the next leg of our trip. But today I'm here to talk to you about timing. It's very interesting because I think about archery. It's all about timing. When is the right time to let go of that string and let the arrow fly. It can be very difficult because you can sometimes let go too soon, and that means the arrow doesn't go where you want it to. But you can also hold on for too long, and that's what I tend to make the mistake. I tend to hold on to this bowstring for too long, and then you get fatigued and you have to let go sooner than perhaps is right. In other words, you can hold on to something too long, and then because you've held on too long, it doesn't go right. You have to find this kind of sweet spot where you draw the bow, you aim, and then you have to trust that you've got the aim right, rather than holding on, moving around, trying to get it perfect and more perfect and more perfect before you let go. Sometimes it's just better to trust the process and trust your first instinct when you pull back that string and you're looking down your arm towards the target. There's always this point, and it usually happens very quickly, where you just in your gut you can feel that it's right, and that's when you should let go and let the arrow fly and let it do its thing. But sometimes your brain gets in the way and you second guess yourself and you don't do that, and that's usually when the arrow doesn't fly as true as I would like it to. Now, why am I talking about this as an analogy? Well, because today I'm going to be talking to you about the right time. Specifically, the right time to start your business. A lot of people who've taken my courses, a lot of people who I've talked to over the years, have had a problem with this, making this decision when to start the business. Now, tell me if this is familiar. You love to make something. You've been crafting it for maybe weeks or months or years, who knows, but you have this desire or this dream to actually try to turn that into a business, to actually sell what you make. And you keep making things and you keep researching, and you take courses and you're learning more and more about how to actually run a craft business, but you just don't take the step, that final step, to actually putting something out there into the world, because you're afraid that you're not ready. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to say is that, and this is what this whole talk is going to be about. So, if you have to skip out early, this is what it's all about. The right time to start your business is right now. Not when everything's perfect, not in the future. The right time is right now. So many people hang back from starting their new venture because they're waiting for the right time to start it. They're waiting for when they feel like they're ready to start their business. They're waiting until they feel like they know everything that they have to do. They're waiting until their next holiday when they'll have more free time, or waiting for their kids to be born or to grow up or to leave home. They're waiting until their spouse gets that promotion, or they're just waiting because they're afraid. And that's what it comes down to, is you're waiting because you're afraid you're not going to do it right or get it right. Okay? And then what happens? You end up waiting for your entire life, and your dream never comes to fruition because you never move it from the abstract mental space to the actual real world and make it a tangible reality. I know everybody listening to this has a dream that you want to make a tangible reality. Even if it's not making a craft business, we all have dreams that we want to bring into reality, that we want to create in the outside world. And there is truth to the adage that you can do anything, but not everything. I'm a big believer in that. It is you simply can't do everything at the same time because there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much energy you have. However, don't get tripped up by the idea that to start something, to start your creative business, you need to be at a certain level of expertise or level of knowledge or anything. You don't. You do not need to be at any particular level. And, nobody from the outside can tell you this either. You don't. You just need an idea. Then you need to put it out into the world in whatever form it's in right now and let it grow. It's like planting a seed. You don't plant an acorn and expect it to be an oak tree when you wake up tomorrow. No, of course not. And your business is just like that. You don't have to wait until it's fully formed to put it out into the world. If you have an idea, a seed, you have to plant it and let it grow. Now, you can keep it safe if you want, this seed idea, in a jar in the back of your cupboard. Sure, it'll stay there and it'll stay viable and it'll stay safe. But as long as you keep it in the jar, it will never have the chance to bloom into what it could possibly be. You have to plant it and let it grow. You have to let it stretch and branch and form organically into what it can be. There is no right way for branches to form on a tree. They form according to the conditions that they grow in. And your business will grow according to the conditions it encounters. A tree is never finished growing, and neither is a business. It will never be done or finished. Therefore, it is impossible for your business to be perfect, ever. Okay? Look, if you're waiting until your business is perfect in conception before you test it against reality, you will never ever launch it. I can promise you. If what's holding you back is the idea that you're not ready, that you haven't got enough knowledge, that you haven't done enough planning, if those are the things that are holding you back, you'll never put it out there because you'll never have enough knowledge and you'll never have done enough planning. Okay? No tree is ever perfect, and neither is any business. And you got to remember, a business, it's not a static thing. It's alive. It's always growing, changing, evolving, bending, breaking, and healing. It's a ongoing new thing every single day when you wake up. Okay, you'll never know everything you need to know to make your business successful, but you can always learn, and you don't have to wait till you've learned everything to start. You learn as you go. You can always experiment. You can always apologize if you get something wrong, and you can always try again. And you can always move in a new direction. And you will always grow. As long as you are trying, as long as you're putting it out into the world, your business will always grow and change and evolve and do different things. So, all you really need to start your business is a product. Do you have a product? Do you have something that you can put up for sale? Because that's all starting a business really is, fundamentally, is having a product and making it available for sale. Everything else Everything else is part of the process of evolving and growing your business. But that's the fundamentals. That's where it's going to start. That's where you're going to learn by putting it and testing it against reality, guys. So have a look at what you've currently created. Have a look at what you've got that you're willing to put out into the world. And that's important too, until you have product that you're proud of, that you are confident that is quality, that you would be happy to take money for, that's maybe the one thing that you need to work on. But I'm guessing that most of you listening to this are pretty good at your craft. It's not something you've just started, and if it is, you've got time to perfect it, and you've got time to make it better. There's this thing in the business world, and they call it the minimum viable product. It's big in like app development and stuff like that. You basically put together the minimum viable product that you can put out to the world and ask some sort of money for, and then you get feedback from your customers about how you can improve it and how you can evolve it. Now, obviously, you're not going to put out a product that's less than pretty lovely and awesome. However, you will find as you start putting products out into the world, you will get feedback from your customers, and that feedback from your customers may send you in a new direction. It'll help you evolve your business in a direction that you probably wouldn't have come up with if you were just sitting by yourself in a room trying to work it out. It's like a tree, growing in response to the environment around it. You've probably been somewhere where the wind is really hard a lot of the year, really high winds, and you can see how the trees have actually bent, because they've been shaped by the tree, they've been shaped by the environment around them. That's what's going to happen to your business. When you put it out into the world, it's going to be shaped by the environment, it's going to be shaped by your customers and your interaction with your customers, and the feedback they give you, the ideas they give you. Some of my favorite products that I make have actually been a suggestion or a request for a custom item from a customer, something I might not have ever thought of by myself, but realized when I made it, hey, this is lovely, this is great, I'm going to make this available because I think other people will like it as well. So that is part of the process of just starting right now. Find whatever products you have, whatever items you've made that are ready to put them out there, and just put them out there. And don't get hung up on how you're going to do this. If you want to put them up in an Etsy shop, do that. If you want to go to and sell at a market, do that. If you want to go and put them in a shop on consignment, do that. What you're really looking for at this stage is just getting over that initial barrier and putting it out into the world and making stuff available for sale. Because once you've done that, once you've put your stuff out there, you start getting sales, and sales are a form of feedback, guys, on your business. You can see the things that are selling well, the things that aren't selling. That'll help you grow your business in the right direction. Well, there is no right direction, in the direction that seems to be most profitable and useful and beautiful for you and your customers. And that is how you will grow. Okay, if you're holding back and holding on to stuff, trying to figure it all out by yourself, it's not going to work. Because as soon as you put stuff out there into the world, it's kind of, you're letting it go and you're letting it happen, and it will evolve and change and grow. So, when's the best time to start your business? Okay, the right time to start your business is right now. And whatever that means to you, because everybody will have a different idea about what starting a business means. I think fundamentally it's that point where you make something available for sale. For you, it might mean coming up with a name for yourself. It might mean coming up with a logo and putting it out there. It might mean telling your family and friends that, yes, I have a business selling my creation now. And that can often be the scariest part as well, is actually putting it out there and telling your actual real family and friends about it. It can be easier to just, put something up on a website or go to a market and kind of keep it to yourself because you're not quite sure if it's going to work. And that's okay. I'm not telling you have to kind of go and shout it from the rooftops and say, hey everyone, this is something I'm doing. But maybe it should be. because your family and friends are the ones who love you the most. They're the ones who want to support you and care about you the most. And so if you say, if you say to them with confidence, this is something I'm doing, chances are they're going to support you and help you out with that. I mean, some of my first sales were to actually old school friends who saw my stuff on Facebook way back when I started, and that was really lovely. It was really lovely to know that people who cared about me were actually supporting me in this dream that I had in this venture, even when it was just a hobby. It was nothing serious. It was a hobby business. I never intended it to be a full-time business or to be my livelihood. I had a good job that I enjoyed. I wasn't I wasn't trying to escape from that. Although, to be fair, I will tell you that I did, from when I was a teenager, always have the dream of actually making a living from an internet business, but I had no idea about how to go about this. It just the right thing came up and it evolved, and here I am today doing exactly that, making a living from 2 internet-based businesses, which is fantastic. But if I hadn't put stuff out into the world and gone, you know what, I'm just going to try. What have I got to lose? If I just put it out there and nobody buys it, well, I've already had the pleasure of the creation of the thing. And that's what it was driving me at that point, was the love of creation, of making this stuff. So I'd already had the joy of making this item. Selling it was, for me, at that stage, just an extra bonus. It was knowing that somebody liked it enough to exchange a bit of money for it. It was knowing that it was going to go out there into the world and find a new home. And that was awesome, and it was a great feeling. And I still enjoy that feeling to this day. But what have you got to lose? If you just, if you want to make this a reality, just put it out there. What have you got to lose if you put it out there and nothing happens? You haven't lost anything, okay? You haven't lost even your dream. If you put your stuff out into the world and nobody buys, is that the worst that can happen? I want you to actually think about, if you actually say, yes, I'm starting this business, and put stuff out into the world, what is the worst case scenario? What is it that's holding you back? Is it that you're afraid nobody's going to buy? Well, okay, that's a reasonable fear. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a reasonable fear that people won't buy because it's perhaps not what they want, or it's not priced in a viable way for them. There's many, many reasons why that might be the case. It might just be that if you're trying to sell online, it might literally just be because your photos aren't good enough and people aren't being drawn to your product over somebody else's because their photos of their product are better than yours. And that could be the only thing holding you back. It might be because your descriptions aren't as detailed as perhaps they need to be. There's so many reasons, and all of those things, guys, are things you can work on, things you can tweak, things you can improve on. But until you put it out there and see what happens, you'll never know. So, think about that worst case scenario. Think about what you can do if that worst case scenario comes to be, and then just go for it. If the worst case scenario is it just won't work for whatever reason, you have this dream and you try it, maybe for a month, maybe for a year, maybe for 2 years, and it just isn't coming together. At least you have tried. At least you put it out there and you gave it a go. You didn't just keep it in your head as a dream that never got tested against reality. Because if you put it out there and it doesn't work, you can try again. You can start again with something new. That's always a possibility. But if you never put it out there, you will never know. And that is the biggest tragedy of all, to be holding on to this dream and never actually test it and put it out there and see if it actually can happen. And because I really, really want your dream to happen for you. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm here talking to you, because my dream happened through a lot of hard work and a long time and a lot of perseverance and patience and long days, and that's okay because that's just how it is. But my dream happened and it made me immeasurably happier than I was before. And so I want you to try and put that out there and see if you can make your dream a reality. So if you haven't started your business, do it. I challenge you to, within the next week, put something up for sale. I don't care if it's just on your Facebook page. I don't care if it's an Etsy shop. I don't care if you go down, you email a local boutique and say, hey, I've got this stuff for sale. Are you interested? Make it happen. Put it out there and just go from there. And you'll learn as you go. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to be 100% ready. You'll never be 100% ready. Just make it happen. And guys, this, you might be past this point. You might have your business out there, but there's always something else. There's always a next level. There's always something new, a new barrier or a new challenge or a new dream that we have about our businesses. So no matter what stage you're at, I know that you've got something that you've been thinking about trying, and I want you to just do it. Just put it out there and see what happens, and let me know. Let me know what happens. If you take this challenge and you put that thing up for sale, or you contact that blogger or that magazine you've been thinking about contacting, or you design that new thing that you weren't sure if you were technically ready to actually make. Whatever it is, I want to hear about it. I want to hear what you're doing right now. So let me know. Come over onto the Facebook Create and Thrive Facebook page. Leave a comment there. Leave a comment under the show notes for this episode. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, head over to the blog createandthrive.com and look for episode 19, and that's this episode. So leave your response to my challenge in the comments there and tell me what you're doing, and then come back and next week and tell me what's happened, and share it with the community. I'd love to hear what you're making happen and what dream you're making into a reality. It'd be really exciting. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today, guys, is that challenge. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this has inspired you to just get out there and make something happen and put it out there and get it started, and let it evolve and grow, and plant that seed and let it grow into a tree. I'd love to hear from you, as I said. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher so you don't miss an episode. And I'd love to, if you have a chance to give some feedback, a review on iTunes or whatever, I'd love to read that as well. I'd love to hear what you think of the podcast. It's really fantastic to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. I'm Jess Van Den. This has been the Create and Thrive podcast, episode 19, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.